Hey, good morning, guys. It is March 24th, and Chambers is in John chapter 3. It is a John the Baptist being confronted, or at least asked about Jesus, and the concern was with John that Jesus was stealing his crowd, stealing his thunder, basically stealing his followers, and John responds. But first, I wanted to ask you if um, have you ever seen like a small child, a really small child, say to his mother while she's cooking, "I want to help," or if you're a parent, you've seen this, but like a really small, "I want to help, I want to help," and you're thinking, okay, do you understand when you say to a mom who's cooking, "I want to help," it is not a help. And this is John, and then Chambers as an extension, talking about knowing when to step aside. Um, when and it's in Chambers deals with the bridegroom, but John really deals with the bridegroom. He says, "Listen, I'm a friend of the bridegroom. I am not the bridegroom." When they say, "Hey, this Jesus, he's," the concern was he's taking your followers away. And John's response was what Chambers references here: "He must increase, but I must decrease." The story he tells, or the parallel he gives, is he says, "Hey, I'm just the friend of the bridegroom, waiting for the bridegroom to show up. As soon as he shows up, I announce him and I get out of the way." And just like the child who is um, trying to stick his hands in the bowl, we're just going to mess things up if we don't know when to get out of the way. Chambers takes that thought, and he is saying, how do we get out of the way of God's work in the lives of the people around us? Which is a really interesting thought, because he has some really pretty serious views on it. Chambers does. Um, he talks about our influence on those people that we are trying to share Christ with, and we're trying to, like we talked about with evangelism, we're trying to introduce. We talked about it if you guys were in the Bible study last week, um, as Luke brought John with him to Bible study, and I said he is supposed to, he is expected to introduce John to us. We're supposed to, we can't change the hearts of men, but we're supposed to be introducing them, the people in our lives, to Jesus. And and Chambers says, instead of putting out a hand to prevent the throes, being this, instead of stifling the work of God in the lives of those around us, and a lot of times He'll bring calamity into their lives for them to understand they have no answers to the hard questions of life, but their Creator does. And so, one thing that Chambers is saying is, be careful not to put out your hand and prevent those things that would draw men to God. And so, he said, instead of putting out the hand to prevent the throes, pray that they'll grow 10 times stronger until there's no power on earth or in hell that can hold that soul away from Jesus Christ. This is really important for parents, actually, for parents not to make things too soft. You make things too soft, and Jesus can't reach the hearts. Um, we put our sympathy in the way, is another way he says it here. Um, Beware of rejoicing with a soul in the wrong thing, but see that you do rejoice in the right thing. And I love the way Chambers. Oh, one of the things he says here, he says, one day that soul will say, that one was a thief. He stole my affections from Jesus, and I lost my vision of him. And so we have to be careful not to put ourselves right in the middle between Jesus, the bridegroom, and his bride, which is the men and women of this world that he's trying to redeem. He seeks to redeem. Trying doesn't really capture what Jesus does. He doesn't try. He does. And so anyway, the last thing here, and I think it is most profound, and it references Matthew 10:34. By the way, Matthew 10 is Jesus says, "I didn't come to bring peace, but a sword." to divide, to turn the hearts of men from their sons and mothers from their daughters. And he's basically saying, I came to create turmoil so that men would seek me, women would seek me. And he says in the end of, Chambers does in the end of the study here, you may often see Jesus Christ wreck a life before he saves it. And that's, if you've ever been taught any kind of lifeguarding, they say be careful not to approach someone too soon as they are flailing in the water. If they are flailing with too much energy, they will drag you down. They will punch you, beat you, push you under. Once they've finally kind of worn themselves out, that is when you reach in behind them, put your arm around them, and you pull them backwards. And so I think that's kind of, we have to be careful not to jump into the middle of people flailing when Jesus is waiting for them to wear themselves out a little bit so that he can rescue them. And so, anyway, I don't know if that speaks to you. I think it helps. It helps, and we look at the crises in other people's lives and we think, oh, maybe God's doing something there that I'm not aware of. Have a great day, guys.